Oh my god, it is as hot as Satan's ballsack in here. Anyway, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. I thought today I would talk about books that are so hyped that I'm terrified to read them, or books that I'm scared to read for any other reason. This video was actually requested on my Instagram, which is the same username if you want to follow. So I can't wait to get into this one because it actually really made me think, like, what am I scared to read and what has been on my TBR for a long time? But anyway, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Drop a comment below telling me which book you're scared to read, but let's get into the video. The first book that I am scared to read, arguably because of the hype, is Silver Elite. If you are on BookTube or BookTok or Bookstagram, I don't know how you will have not seen the hype around this one. Essentially, it is an NA romantasy dystopian, apparently. There's a lot of hype around the author as well because apparently it's someone under a pen name. People are trying to figure out who it is. There's just a whole lot around it, and also a lot of the ARC readers who have had it before publication have given it 5 stars. I'm scared about this for 2 reasons. One, because the last book that had this much hype that I ended up really strongly disliking was Powerless, and also because I have seen what the author has said about the reason she wanted to write a dystopian, and it's kind of got me a little bit on the fence about it. I'm paraphrasing here, so make sure to do your own research, but essentially she said something along the lines of she has written a NA romantasy dystopian because she was really craving a good dystopian like from the 2000s era, but she wanted it to have spice. She really wanted a spicy dystopian with romantasy. So I don't know, that just immediately to me kind of screams like maybe I'm not going to love this one, because dystopian is one of my favourite genres, but the thing I love most about it is it challenges far-right political ideologies, and it also makes you question everything about society and capitalism. Maybe I am being a little bit judgmental here, but if you are focusing on the spice, that makes me question whether you are embedding those real sort of core aspects that make up the dystopian genre. So I'm waiting a little while for this one before I read it. I want to see what mutuals around me think of it and whether it actually is dystopian or if it's more like something along the lines of Fourth Wing, where it's just a smidgen of the plot and the rest is more fantasy and romance. Obviously that is a genre that I do read, romantasy, so it's not necessarily that I have a problem with that, but if it's marketed as dystopian, I want a dystopian. The second book that I am terrified, and arguably this is the one I'm most terrified to read, is 1,000 Splendid Suns. And this is for a completely different reason to Silver Elite. I am not scared that this book isn't going to live up to the hype. I am terrified about the devastation that I will face upon reading this book. I read its predecessor, The Kite Runner, when I was about 16 or 17 years old. I've never read it again since, but I still remember how viscerally devastating that book is, and it honestly makes me want to cry even just thinking about that book. It is one of the best, most brilliant books ever written in my opinion, but it is honestly just so devastating. So I'm terrified about what the author is going to do to me on this one as well, but I know that at some point I have to read it because it has had such wonderful reviews, and again, like I said, The Kite Runner has stuck with me for now almost like another 16 years. See, I need a post-trauma drinks break already just from talking about it. For similar reasons, I am also terrified about A Little Life. I unfortunately have seen so many videos of people hysterically sobbing and crying to this book, which has made me believe that I will also have the same reaction. So therefore, for the last few years, I have been avoiding it like the plague. And I know some of the plot and some of the reasons it is so devastating, and I fully believe that that means I will also find it devastating because of what those themes are. Now, you would think that maybe that would just make me want to not read it at all, but unfortunately, in my case, curiosity kills the cat every single time, and I do still want to give it a go. What's also terrifying about this book is the size of it. It is chunky, so it's like I don't know, like 500 pages, maybe more, of pure devastation. And I just don't know when I'm going to be ready for that. But at the same time, I do want to be in the know about the book. I'm also terrified to read 2 books by an author that I actually already know that I love, and a series that I really enjoyed as well, and that is Suzanne Collins's books, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and also Sunrise Over the Reaping. I have literally owned The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes since it came out. I've got it in hardback. I don't know where it is, but I've got it somewhere. However, I am a little bit terrified because I remember when I read the Hunger Games trilogy, I really disliked the last half of book 3. I just didn't enjoy it at all. And listen, I was about 12 when I read that, so it's quite possible that the themes and the ending just went over my head, and that if I reread them now, I would completely enjoy them. But it also doesn't help how hyped these books are across the whole of social media. Obviously, we've had one film adaptation already with Songbirds and Snakes, and then Sunrise Over the Reaping is being made as well. I just can't escape from it. So I know that if I read it and I don't like it, I'm going to be that person that people are like, oh, there's no way you didn't like that book. You know, I'm just terrified that this is a series that everyone feels so passionately about it. What if I don't like it? I will do them at some point when I feel brave enough, but I keep putting it off. The next book I am scared about, and this one purely is because of the hype, is Metal Slinger. Now, I have seen no end of Metal Slinger all over BookTok specifically, and the thing that makes me most scared about it is the original kind of BookTokers who hyped this book up and got it the huge kind of audience that it now has are BookTokers whose taste I don't always align with, and so I am terrified that if I go into this, it is going to be one that I DNF and really don't enjoy, especially because romantasy has a harder and harder time impressing me every year. Fae romantasies specifically, because I have just read so many now that it is a bit been there, done that for me, and I would really just love to see something fresh and unique. So romantasy in general has a really, really hard time impressing me, and I just have a feeling maybe that this one is not going to be one that lives up to the hype for me. But at the same time, like I said earlier, my curiosity always wins out, so at some point I know I am going to give this a go. If you've read this one, let me know what you thought in the comments below. Again, I don't know where my physical copy of this has gone, but 7 Years Slip is one that I'm also terrified about. This romance book gets nothing but rave reviews, and so many of my mutuals have read this and absolutely loved it, and they think that I will too. However, when all of my mutuals love something and I'm one of the last ones to read it, I get so scared because I definitely have slightly harsher taste than some of the girls in my book club, and I don't want to let them down and hate it, because there's nothing more upsetting than when you recommend someone a book and they don't like it. So I don't want to be that person for someone else, but the pressure is on because they think I will like it and they all loved it so much. And listen, I am going to do it this summer because it sounds like the perfect summery romance book, but I have been putting it off for about a year and a half at this point, I think. I'm also a little bit nervous because Ashley Poston's romance books tend to have like a magical realism element, I think, and I'm a bit funny about that. I kind of like romance and fantasy and romantasy, but romance books with a slight paranormal or kind of ghosty twist, I'm not too sure on, so that element makes me nervous as well. I have been putting off Jade City for 2 years maybe. I've owned these 4 and I've still not read them. I don't know, actually no, I do know what it is. It's not necessarily how hyped they are, it is how split the opinions of them are. This seems like a real Marmite book series. You either love it or you hate it. Now, I am a high fantasy girly. I do love high fantasy, but one thing I do struggle with is when the first half of the book or the whole first book has a very, very slow pace as it world builds, and I've heard that's what people don't like about this series. So I'm a bit nervous because if there's a slow pace, I will just switch off and I'll just never come back to it. It'll be like not even an intentional DNF. I'll just keep putting off picking it up because I just can't stand something that feels so slow. But at the same time, the premise of these books sounds so intriguing, and I have been wanting to do more high fantasy. And one of my favourite book talkers, Smitty, absolutely loves this trilogy, so maybe that means I'll like it. Usually I like his recommendations, but we will see. I'm terrified to read anything by V.E. Schwab. Now, I have read The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, but even then, I only read it because it was picked for our book club pick of the month. So, like, I had no choice almost. And I was like, this is kind of good because I've owned this book for 3 years by the time I'd read it. And this will mean I absolutely have to do it. And unfortunately, although I still loved it, I do not love that book as much as everybody else does. I think I gave it 4.5, but everyone I know gives that book like 5 stars or infinity stars, and people get tattoos dedicated to it. Whereas for me, it was just really, really good, but I definitely found flaws in it. And for me, one of those was the pacing. Again, obviously that is like a big bugbear of mine. I was really excited by the bits that were happening in present, but the flashbacks to the past I kept getting a little bit bored by. And so that has made me kind of scared to do her other books because they all have such strong positive reviews, and I'm scared that again I'll be the one that doesn't love them. And also because a lot of them kind of lean into dark academia as far as I know, and historically that has been a genre for me that I'm a bit unsure of. Although I will say recently I've been really enjoying it. I've done Blood Over Brighthaven, I've done Nightshade, and I've reread Legendborn and continued that series as well. So there has been elements of it in other things I've read recently and enjoyed. So maybe I'll like her books, but I'm just a bit scared because they have such hype around them and because she's such a prolific author. Also weirdly curious but terrified about The Wedding People. I've seen a lot of TikToks about people reading this for like book clubs and stuff, but I've never seen a book talker that I follow give it like an individual in-depth review. So I don't really know if this is going to be my thing or not. I just know that it's really popular at the minute. I don't even really know if it's technically romance or contemporary fiction. I'm not 100% sure. I vaguely, roughly know the plot, kind of, but like not enough to be certain on whether I'm going to enjoy it or not. But because I have seen so many book clubs read this, I am questioning if I should give it a go. But at the same time, like I say, because I've not seen a review of it properly by someone that I trust, I don't want to waste my time on something that is not for me. So I'm waiting for this one to see someone I know review it, and then hopefully that will make my decision for me at some point. And last but by no means least, I am terrified of Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. This coming from a girl who has Emily Henry special editions, who normally picks Emily Henry's latest release up the moment it is in her hands on release day. That's how much I love Emily Henry. Yet I've had this book in my house for over a week now, and yet I still have had no urge to pick it up. I've just seen so many mixed reviews of this one. I know it's not her usual style of romance as well, so that's scaring me. I've heard that it's kind of split POV between an old lady and a couple, and although I did love that actually in A Love Song for Ricky Wilde, I'm scared about this one. I don't know. I kind of just want a traditional Emily Henry romance at the minute, but I know that that's not going to be that. So I keep putting it off, but if you've read that already, please let me know what you think below. One of my book besties has read it now and she really, really loved it. So that is promising, but I think I just need to wait until I'm in the mood for this, because in my heart, I want another happy place or beach read, but this probably is not going to be that. But anyway, that is it today. A kind of shorter, quick YouTube video. If you have any books you are scared to read, please let me know in the comments below and let me know if you agree on any of those. Otherwise, I will see you next Monday for another video. And until then, love you. Bye.